Welcome back, guys. This is our second tutorial for the DevOps. So in this, basically, we will create a AWS instance and then we will see how to connect with the AWS EC2 instance using the Putty. So if you open the browser, the AWS basically the cloud management service, and using that basically we can create a n number of instance and then we can use that instance for our DevOps practice. Since in the real world nobody is using Windows for their DevOps development, so we can use the Linux machine that is actually people using for the DevOps, and then we can practice it on the DevOps using on that Linux machine. Basically, in our model, we will create a one AWS Linux machine. In that, we will deploy all the softwares like Java, Maven, and Jenkins, and we will create a second DevOps machine. In DevOps machine, we will deploy the application server software like Tomcat, and then we will connect both the machines together, and from the one machine we can connect to the another machine, and then we can communicate with our application. Because our application is secure, so we will keep it as a separate in a different server, and the another server we have all the status related things. So we will create a two EC2 instance, and then we will accordingly we will manage our application. So if you create an account in the AWS and then you have login, then you will see this type of the page. In this, inside the all services, we can see the all the services that is provided by the AWS. Since it is free for a 1 year for some limited service, so if you use the free tier eligible service that is provided by the AWS, you can use for free for your practice for up to 1 year. So my recommendation is to use the free tier eligible services only. If you not use that one, then you have to pay some amount for that. So use the free tier eligible service only for your practices purpose. So open this tab and we have to create the instance. So for that, we need to click on the EC2. And then here you are see currently I have no instance running, and that is the IP. So now we have to create the instance. So click on the instance, and here the option for the launch instance. Since we have to create a Linux VM, so that is the Amazon Linux AMI that we have to create, and that is also the free tier eligible, so that we can use for our practices purpose. Just select that AMI and click on the select option. Here the option that is a T2 micro, that is free tier eligible. For rest of that is not eligible for the free tier. So we will take the T2 micro version and go for the next configuration. Here the option for the all the number of instances and all these things that is currently not required for us. So just keep it as a default. No need to change any value. Another thing is the storage part. The default storage is provided by the AWS is the 8 GB. So it is sufficient for us for our practices purpose. So just no need to change. And then that is the tag we can provide. So suppose we are installing the Jenkins on this machine, so we can add a tag Jenkins machine. It's completely optional, but just for our purpose, so we can remember this machine we are using for the installing Jenkins or Maven. So we can just add a tag value for that particular machine. And then the security group, that is default security group that is open for this machine. But since you are knowing that Jenkins is running on the 8080 port or some other application that is running on some different port, then we need to open that particular port. Then only we will able to connect that port. So in our case, Jenkins is running on the 8080 port. So just add the rule in the port range, add 8080. And then you can add similar way, you can add n number of ports. Suppose your application is running on the 8081 or 8082, then you can add that particular port also, and that will create a new security group. And that security group is allow that port and also the 8080. Whatever the rule that you added, that will come as a security group. Then go to the next step, review and launch. So just review all the things that we have selected, and we can launch the instance. Here the option when you create the instance, the AWS provide the key option. That key is basically a secure key that we will use while creating the instance again. So suppose if you are creating the first time, then you have no created key. So then we have to create a new key pair, and then we have to type the key name, suppose test key, and then we can download the key pair from here. If the download option is available only once, if you forgot to download from here, then next time it won't come for the download. Download the key and then save that key for your location. That key is required for the connecting the AWS once the instance is ready. In my case, I already have the key, so I can say that choose the existing key pair, and I will say this one, and then acknowledge the condition. But in your case, just create a new key and save it for a future reference, and then launch the instance. The instance is created successfully. Just click on it. So it's loading the instance. So meanwhile, the instance is loading, then we will move to the next one, that is the Putty. Download Putty to connect the EC2 instance. So basically, there are multiple software is available to connect the EC2 instance. Basically, once the instance is ready, we have to SSH the instance, and then we will launch the instance, and then we will basically connect to the instance. For that, we can use the like mobile terms is the software. Putty is the one of the software that is used to connect the EC2 instance. In this course, I'm using Putty to connect the AWS instance. For that, if you want to download the Putty, go to the site at putty.org. That is the site, official website for the Putty. Just click here to download the Putty software. And based on your software requirement, you can download the installer MSI file and just need to click on the next, and then Putty will install successfully on your machine. So once it's successfully installed, you are able to see this window. And using that, how we can connect, there are another step. The next one is the convert PEM to PPK key. So suppose once we have created the instance and then we have downloaded the key, that key will come in the .pem format. But Putty won't support the PEM format. So once you are using the Putty for the connecting AWS instance, you have to convert that PEM key to PPK key, and then that PPK key is used for the connecting purpose. So for that, there is software that is by default coming with the Putty is the Putty key generator. Using that Putty key generator, we can convert this PEM key to PPK key, and then we can use that PPK key for connecting the instance. So that is the Putty key generator. Open that and load the key that you have saved. In my case, this is the key. Open that. It's successfully opened. Then we have to save the private key. Select the save private key option. Say yes, and the save. Apologies, I have selected the PPK file. We have to select the PEM file. So just select the repair.pem file. Okay, and then select the SSH one, and then we have to save the private key. Click save yes, and give the same name that you have given for the PEM file, and just name that name like repair.pem is the file. So you can name it repair.ppk, and just save that file, and it's done. So we have completed till now the 3 steps. We have created the AWS EC2 instance. We have downloaded the Putty to connect the EC2 instance, and then using the PuttyGen, we have converted PEM file to PPK file. That is basically required while connecting to the AWS. The next one step is connecting EC2 instance using the Putty. So if you open the AWS, now see instance is running, and we have created the instance successfully. Just select that instance and scroll down. We have the option for public IPv4 address. That address is required while connecting to the AWS. The public IP that we have to use while connecting to the AWS. Just select this public IP, copy it, and open the Putty software and enter inside the host name. And then in the SSH, open it inside the auth. And here we need to provide our PPK file that we have converted using PuttyGen. Select the PPK file and open it. And now open the string. That will connect to the EC2 instance. Just accept it and log in as a default user. In the case of Linux, default user is EC2-user. Enter. No need to provide any password. It will use the PPK key as for the authentication purpose. And now we have successfully logged in the EC2 instance. Now we can install the all the software like the Java and the Linux and all these things using this command prompt that is available for this particular machine. So till now in this lecture, we have created the instance, downloaded Putty, and then converted PEM to PPK, and then we have connected EC2 instance successfully. In my next lecture, we will install the Java and the Maven in the same machine, and then we will install Jenkins and configure the container deployment process for that particular application. So that's all for this lecture. If you have any questions or query, you can reach out to me on the LinkedIn. My LinkedIn URL is given on the description box. Thank you. Thanks for your time.